This is not a drill. This is not a drill. This is a drill.
Hey guys, this is Julian of Julian Gray Media. Welcome to this month's Fix Your Project stream. If you're new to the channel, or if you just discovered my channel from those last few videos, I know they're doing really well right now across the internet. If you just discovered the channel, this is an opportunity I do every month for patrons of the channel to get their projects reviewed and fixed by me on stream. Essentially, if you make a pledge of $10 or more on Patreon, every single month you can send me your Ableton project files. I will work on them on the stream, give you my feedback as deep as possible, and fix them as I see fit. So, hope you guys are having a great time. We're going to get started here pretty soon because we have a lot of projects to get through today. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can. I got something like 10 submissions. So, if you're interested in sending in your projects for next time, make sure to go over to patreon.com/JulianGray and you can submit projects there. All right, let's go ahead and get this thing started. I'm going to go to our main visual here, which is Ableton and our chat window. Say hi in the chat if you want to appear on the screen, guys. It's good to see you guys as usual. I don't know how many viewers we have right now because my phone is dead and I can't have it on the screen. But somebody in the chat tell me how many viewers we have right now and we'll get things started here. So this is going to be an interesting one because I'm sure half of you are using Ableton Live 11 and half of you are probably using Ableton Live 10. So it's going to be a gamble whether or not these projects open in 11 or 10. So I'm going to try to open everything in 10, and the ones that don't open in 10, I'm going to open in 11. Might be some issues there, but we should be good. So if I remember correctly, this is our order for today, and these are first come, first serve for these submissions. We got a lot this month. I think this is something like 9-ish, maybe like 8. So first up, we have Fresco Baldi, and he is a long-time submission to these streams, so I'm excited to check this out. It's always unique and cool what he sends us in. So, And while we're here, guys, how are you guys doing? I hope you guys are staying safe, healthy, and have some good spirits right now through this quarantine period. I know that it's difficult for a lot of us musicians. I'm going to go ahead and plug my phone in so I can see the chat on there as well. Give me 1 second, guys. Sound is very low. Okay. I will fix that. Here we go. Should be better now. Plugging my phone in so we have some chat here. But we should be good to go now. Okay, so I don't have a lot of these plugins. I hope you froze them so we don't run into any issues, but we should be good to go now. All right. This is Fresco Baldi. It's called East Iceland. Let's get right into this one so we can cover as many today as we can. I'm going to try to self-designate time here. We'll probably try to keep these to about 10 minutes each. Otherwise, we're going to be here for literally hours and hours. So this is Fresco Baldi's. We're going to start here at 12:04 and try to get this thing through by 12:15. All right, let's go ahead and start. Turn my mic up a little bit more for you. How are the levels on the music, guys? You guys know better than I do. I really like that right here. Fresco is always the king of these really vintage, like video gamey sounding tracks. I think it falls down to his sound design. There's some interesting stuff going on here with the chord progression. There's some weird resolves where it doesn't feel like it lands on the right note at some places, but I think it's almost like a good thing. It reminds me of like how Deadmau5 does his chord progressions. They're very weird, but in a good way. See, I wouldn't expect that, which is, I believe, it's a C sharp, I believe? No, E. I wouldn't expect the E there. I would expect this to go back to like the C sharp, which is like the key of the song. But it's unique and cool in a way. When you're writing a progression, there's kind of an unspoken rule about resolve, in that you never want to leave a listener unresolved, or it makes things tense. And the ultimate resolution is the root note, which is the key of the song, which is the C sharp. So going from this G sharp here to an E is a really like ballsy move. I think it's kind of cool, but it might off-put some listeners. You might want to look into the theory of stable and active notes in a chord. Essentially, there's certain notes that, relative to the root, resolve better than others. That's the reason why some chord progressions sound good and resolved and some don't. There's actually an objective way to like rationalize that, and it's called the theory of active and stable chords, or active and stable notes, and be worth looking into. But I think that the chord progression in general is really unique and cool. I like it. There's no like problems with it. I think as far as the music stuff goes, it's unique, cool, and it has your own spin. Every one of these that we get submitted from you has this very distinctive like Fresco Baldi sound, which is awesome. It has like this gamey vibe. It reminds me a lot of like Hotline Miami and some of those like more indie video games. I think it's a lot to do with the sound design. One thing I would say, if you're trying to play into that aesthetic a little bit more, is a little bit more reverb on the highs to fill out the atmosphere would be nice here. So your bass and your drum sound good to me. So let me see if I can find your lead here. Nice bass sample. I think it's this guy. So you have a Valhalla room on here, but I think it's a little bit too dull. I would try to add a little bit more high end. I can't unfreeze this because I don't have your plugins, but if I just group this, what I want to do is add like a little bit of room up in the top end. I think what you're doing is, sorry, I spelled that wrong. I'm just going to type room. That would be easier. What you're doing, I think, is a roll off of the top. Like you probably have this set pretty low. I would say you need that high shimmer in there. So maybe like a mix at like 30%, so you aren't overwhelming the dry signal, because you have that really nice like crispness in the top end. But just a little bit of delay, I think, I'm sorry, decay on that reverb would go a long way here. You know, like 30% with a lot of high end, so it has that shimmer. Yeah, versus this. You can tell you have Valhalla on there, but it's not like extravagant. And sometimes I like to take a compressor post reverb so I can crush some of the dynamics. We want to grab some of the small nuances of this sound and bring it up to level with the transients, as you can see here. So I just want to kind of flatten that out, and not to an extreme ratio, but you know, grab the transient at a pretty low threshold here. And you get that really nice like 80s style compressed reverb tail. And with a long enough reverb tail, it creates a pseudo like atmosphere without any added elements here. So I think that would be really, really nice on some of these elements. You have this very retroism sound to your stuff, and that way of processing melodies, like, you know, 80s style, I think would really fit this. So maybe on your yeah, this guy too, maybe. I'm just gonna group this. Got a lot of stuff on there. I would just say, you know, try a little bit more reverb, and then add just a touch of like high end to that reverb too. Like, you don't have to bring it all the way up, but maybe like, you know, here in like the 100, I'm sorry, the 10, 12K, just so you have enough of that sharpness in the reverb so that it creates an atmosphere. It's probably probably a little bit too much for this one. It also doesn't sound like this is sidechained. I can't really tell because I don't have access to your chain, but I would say sidechain your high-end stuff as well, just to give it a little bit of motion. It doesn't really have that right now. Let's see. Grab the kick here. Maybe just a little bit of sidechain. Grab like the transient only. Should come up a lot because these feel very important to the mix in my opinion. I'm gonna take them up a few decibels. Again, I can't tell if this is sidechained either, but probably could do for a little bit more. So I'm just going to try a little bit more sidechain on this too. I take the kick up like 4 decibels here so we can push it out in the front a bit more. Matt Lang kick, I love it. Matt's the king. Oh, on this part, wherever that guitar sound is, I think that would do really well with that reverb as well that we've introduced. Let's try this guy here. Just grab this whole chain, actually. Let's paste it on the guitar. Maybe like even more on this one. I think this is the one, right? Oh, that's not the one. That is not it. I think it's the bridge guitars. Well, these are actually nice on here too, but I'm gonna put it on the bridge guitar group. Maybe it's not the bridge guitars. Maybe it's the, oh, it's probably this one. Yeah, just needs that sharpness in there, I think. So I'm gonna grab this and then I'll place this on top of that. I think that'll bring these out nicely. And then I think we'll be done with this track because I don't want to spend too much time on any one track today because we have like 6 or 7 to go through. All right, did I say 8? I think at the beginning. I think the kick really needs like some high end and a little bit of boom at the bottom, but I don't have like the ability to unfreeze your kick, so I can't remove anything. I could just see what's like on here. Yeah, okay, so not too much is going on there. I would just say something like this. And then just a think this is a really solid one. Just needs some love on the reverbs and the atmospheric sounds. Try that compressed reverb thing, and then also look into the idea of stable and active chords. I think that I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or not, but you have some weird interval changes, which I think are really cool and unique and not usual. But if you're trying to shoot for more like approachable music for the masses, it's a little bit jarring to not resolve onto the root or like the fifth. All right, so that is Fresco Baldi, East Iceland. Great track. That was amazing. Go ahead and save this one for you. Seems like the chat loves this track too. That little trill with the square sounding synth in the mid is just chef's kiss. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. Love that one. Let's get on to the next one here. Let's see who was next on our list here. We have Eldon, Mark Eldon, our Australian friend Mark. Let me just do this really quick just so we know. Finished. And we'll do Fresco Baldi into here. Finished. All right, Control by Mark Eldon. Let's get this thing unzipped. That is not the right thing. Yeah, everybody give a round of applause to Mr. Fresco Baldi. That was an incredible track that you just submitted. I'm going to play this in the background while we unzip Mark's thing. Might have pushed the kick a little too hard. That thing has so much potential there. All right, Mark Eldon, Control. You guys excited for this one? I am. Nightshade, welcome to the chat. And everyone else, welcome to the chat. If you're new to the channel, which some of you might be, I do these streams once a month for patrons of the channel. If you go over to patreon.com/JulianGray, you can check it out. And if you have a pledge on Patreon over $10, you can submit your project files to these streams. I work on them on the stream, and I fix them to the best of my ability or to my taste. And that taste is, you know, essentially what you subscribe for, I think at least. Yeah. Okay, so let's get into this one. This is Eldon, Control. I love the use of my MIDI strategy in the last, not the last video, the second to last video that I put up. Really awesome way to work out your arrangements. If you haven't seen it yet after this stream, you can go check that out on my YouTube channel. It's using MIDI clips to make your arrangements easier to follow. Hey, Che is in the chat, the Mousetrap legend and the Dirty Bird Groove Meister himself. Love him. All right, let's check this out. Mark Eldon. Pretty so far. Love it. Really quiet though. You have a utility on your master post limiter. I'm gonna put this before the limiter. Just better practice. I'm liking where this is going so far. It's awesome. It's really refreshing. feels like you're lacking mids, but I don't know if you reveal that in the drop or whatever. Lacking here at like 60 to 100. Or, sorry, 60 to 200. We can fix that really easily. That's awesome. Those little stabs are cute. Like little. Okay, cool. So I really like where this is going. I think it has a lot of potential. While listening to this, I mentioned and I said on the chat, we're kind of lacking from 60 to 200 hertz here. And this is octave like octave 2-ish. We're also kind of lacking down here at octave 0. We don't have anything like super low. So I want to take a look at our basses here, and I noticed that you have the MIDI here at octave 1, and then you have in Serum you have it down an octave. So these are at octave 0. They're not actually at octave 1. What I encourage you to do in the future, I'm not going to do this here because it takes a lot of time, but I would say make sure that your MIDI is matching what your synth is playing. So in this case, this is the note that's actually being played because, you know, octave down here. So if we neutralize this to 0, then we know that when we see MIDI that's playing 0, it's actually playing 0, and it's not playing -1. Maybe I can actually just quickly do this. I'll just copy these over with the automation lock on, of course. Shouldn't be too hard here. Just, yeah, that. And duplicate it once more, and then this. Like that. Cool. So now we know that this is octave 0 because we fixed it in the MIDI. And then this one, this is octave 1 in the MIDI, but let's take a look at the synth. This is also at octave 0 because these are both -1. So we have two basses comprising that octave 0 space, but we have nothing in octave 1 or 2, which is essentially where we have that gap in our span. We don't have anything like around here. And then we don't have anything up here at octave 2 or 3. So I just want to try to fill that void up here. Maybe what we can do is we can, instead of dropping it down an octave on this instrument, we can put it up an octave. This one sounds more like a sub to me, so I'm going to leave this as it is. But this one maybe we can take up an octave. So this is at 0, and then if we look at this, we're at 0 again. So let's try to do this at maybe +1. See how that sounds. Oops. Why is that not doing it? Oh, it's a new thing for live 11, I think. Oh no. Oh, you just have got it. I see. Okay, that sounds good. Just for the sake of time, I'm not going to switch this back to +1, but I'll just do it here instead. See how that feels much thicker now because we're comprising one octave on each channel instead of them both being on the same. And then for this guy, I'm going to open this up a little bit more. I'm not going to cut off everything above 100 hertz because that, again, was where we're running into issues here. We're kind of in like this area. We just need some in that area, and we didn't have it. So I'm going to let some of those harmonics through, actually, maybe up to like 200. And then for this guy, I just want to make sure we're getting our fundamental in. So just fill that out. Yeah, immediately sounds more full. That sounds awesome. Yeah, and then let's put the chords back in and see if we can balance it with the chords a bit more. One of the other critiques I had was this section towards the end here has a lot of lead elements just coming in and out. It's like much louder now. Yeah, that but you also have the so I would commit to one or the other. It's a bit like having two people talking to you at the same time. It's kind of confusing. It's like this is really quiet, like to the point where it's not even really there. Put that to 0. Maybe this whole group can come up. So this is comprising the same octave, I think, as this. Makes me wonder if we even need it. Let me just disable that. It doesn't really add much. However, these ones do. So I'm going to just turn this group up now that we've disabled the bass one. And I'm thinking maybe if we leave these playing a little bit longer instead of plucking it so fast, we can make this feel a little bit more like a pad than it is like a pluck. Yeah, it's pretty. Now it's gonna fill up nicely because that lower mid is where we had a lot of space. Let's see how this sounds together now. Yeah, I mean, just give that a little bit more actually. Little faster or slower roll off, so you get that instead of like a do. And then for this guy too, like. Yeah, and play that with the bass now. I think that's gonna sound nice. It's also really sidechain. I'm gonna reduce that a little bit. I'm gonna stick the high drone in the chord group because that's totally not a bass. And this needs to be louder because that's like the core of it. Maybe a little bit of reverb on that could help too, like a little touch. I can work on this one for a long time. I really, really love this, but I don't want to spend the whole time on it. But and I think you just have too much stuff going on up top. Like, it already feels full enough. You don't have to add all those top elements. Is not working. Way too much like distraction from that low end. I don't know if this is the right kick choice either. It's a little better there. Also, those kick rolls are really unnecessary. They're a little bit distracting. So I would just kind of, do this. Maybe like once every like 3 bars or something you can do it, but it's way too much right now. Yeah, something like that. And then put these here. And then do this. All right, here we go. Trim the bottom off the clap, and then I think I'll be done with this one. I think that if you keep working on this, try to remove some of the leads. I don't think you need it. Like, this is already carrying the song enough, and it's just the kick and the drums. Like, this right here is just enough for the whole track. If you like fine tune that to make it really sharp and strong, like this could be an amazing lead and a very unique one. I've never heard like string shots like that used in a track like this. Maybe like a little bit of OTT actually. Like that. A little too loud now, but and also it's very like stereo. Maybe if we monoized it like utility. Oh, right. Yeah, something like this. A little too stereo right now. Yeah, much better. Like, you hear that together, like that sounds awesome with the bass and the drums. I would say just the lead stuff's a little too much. It's already sounding really nice. I don't want to keep working on this because we're gonna spend all day on it, but it sounds really good. Bass, the chords and that violin thing are really, really nice standout elements. I would just try to work on that a bit more. All right, that was Eldon Control. What do you guys think of that one? Let me know in the chat. We're here about 40 minutes into the stream. We've only done 2. This is every time. All right, next up we have Nick Bailey. Let's try to get to this one. Collect all and save. And if you guys have any questions or comments about the stream as we go here, let me know in the comment section. Oops. I did not mean to open that. The cat clicked on it. Nice. Stop. My cat has a problem with distracting me at the least convenient times. Stop licking my hand, cat. I've become very like desensitized to my cat licks because he just does it every day. All right, Nick Bailey up next. Let's check this one out. Check out my cat, guys. Hi, buddy. I don't think he's gonna stick around. Hi. Say hi, bud. I promised you guys cat pictures because it was in the thumbnail. So, you know, you're gonna have to look up here. Hey. All right. Cool. All right, next up we have Entropy by Nick Bailey. I think that's a Dead Mouse song, too. Let's go ahead and play this thing. Nice intro. Woohoo! I'm assuming like Black Gummy Eddie influence. That's sick. Juno, what do you think? Okay, but you can't touch my trackpad. Okay, now it's totally Eddie, because when you introduce the snare. Get off. That mega drop, or mega breakdown out of the drop. Super Eddie. Nightquaker, hello. Say hi to Juno the cat, too, while you're here, guys. Juno is co-running this stream, obviously. That's so good. My one note, like, I think this is really solid so far. My one big note is that the bass could use like a little bit more distortion and sharpness in the high end. It's what gives it that like edge. I'm gonna try that for you in a second here. But I think the important thing is that you've gotten the energy transmission down. Like you have like really nice tension building in your breaks, and then you have these really cool reveals and like huge drops, which is what is integral to that like heavy electro stuff. Eddie, Black Gummy, those kind of artists. Who are both very good friends of mine. Like the homies. Check out your bass here, because that's the track. It also feels like it doesn't grow. Like the second drop feels exactly the same as the first one. I'm assuming that this is a newer track of yours, and that's probably like why this hasn't been filled out towards the end. But the drop that you do have in here is crazy. So I think the one I'm really referring to is the main one, this guy. So what I'm gonna do is just grab a group so I don't have to unfreeze this. I think I have, you know what? I have serum. Yeah, I don't need to group it. Okay. What I'm gonna try is like a little bit of OTT maybe. Just give it some high and mid boost. Let me see. Just to add that like upper end, because you have the sub handled with this guy, right? Yeah, super low. I'm gonna plug in my sub pack. So I can get the full gist of this guy, because this one seems like it has some killer low end. Bear with me for 1 second. Problem with sub packs are that they're very uncomfortable. If they fixed that, they would rule the world. Yeah, that's super low. Okay, cool. Dang, that is loud. Okay. And then maybe in addition to the OTT, we can try something else. Like, I don't know if you have Faturator by Kilohertz. Really, really good distortion. I don't want to like take away too much from the original sound because it is really tight, but I know a lot of guys in this genre are really obsessed with isotope trash, which I don't have, but if you're looking for distortion, I would look into that because that's like the go-to for electro. Unfortunately, I stopped writing electro a few years ago, so I don't really have that. Probably a little bit too much of this. Just wanted to have that like edge, which you didn't have without it. So what I can do here is just grab these two and A/B it, see if what I added actually helps or if it makes it worse. You tell me. Let's play this with the drums. See how it adds a lot of that mid edge that makes it really strong. And if you don't have Faturator, I mean, even just the OTT adds a lot of sharpness. All right, let's see how it sounds in the reveal, because that's what's most important here. Turn this up a little. Maybe have your limiter on. think your bass has a little bit of motion in like the filter section, which doesn't translate to the affected part. So if you do this, I would say try to add a little bit of artificial, like, you know, volume shaping or something to make the transients of those feel sharper again, because right now it feels like but if you add like a really sharp edge, like an LFO tool or something, it could be really good. Like let's see if I can do this. It's like basically a reverse LFO tool, because I want this to, oops, what did I do? See, it has like a lot of extra on that transient. I'm just using this basically as a transient shaper. Let's play that in the mix now. Really good idea in the chat here from Michael. Automating that tone of the bass over 4 bars or something would be really nice. I would say something a little bit shorter though. Like if we grab the mix of this saturator and just kind of do this. I think this probably doesn't have enough like regular sidechain either, so this is for like transient shaping. I don't know if you have LFO tool. I hope you do. I could be adding a lot of plugins you don't have here, but I think it's worth it for the sake of you know, fixing projects. So I'm just gonna add like a small little cut at the front, maybe a little bit longer than that, like this, for like an actual sidechain, so we get this. So we let the kick right through, so we get like the... It's a mouse kick for sure. Yeah, let's see how that reveals. That's cool. I would say also you have like an FM in here. If we automate that to kind of shift the harmonic as we get heavier, like towards those really cool distorted sections, we can create like a really nice effect too. Like the no mana effect. Some ideas here to add a little bit of variance to the bass. I think making it a little sharper just really helps drive that like aggression home. Yeah, I don't have Pro L2. Pro it's not gonna be the same. One other thing I would say is make sure that your breakdown is significantly quieter. That helps with the reveal of that drop. So if we did this pre-limiter, just kind of turn it down like 2 or 3 decibels here. I don't know if you did that already, but if you just kind of grab the gain and dial this down to like -2.5 or something, like over the course of the previous 8 bars. It makes that hit feel so much bigger because it's so much of a volume discrepancy there. Yeah, and I advise just absolutely smashing that with the limiter when you get it back. I don't have FabFilter Pro L, but I'll use Pro L1 just to get the idea across. It's the Ableton one is just not it. Okay, and then let's hear this with the new drums that introduced halfway through, the Eddie drums. This might be one of the circumstances where you do a sub mix, like you send all your synths to a limiter, slam it, and then send that sub mix to the master, and then you have like a master limiter slamming that so that you aren't destroying your drum transients with your basses. Might be worth looking into. Sounds good though. I like this one a lot. It does remind me of Ed. I would say, if anything on this one, you need some sort of hook. There's no like hook element. There's nothing really, like the drop hits really nicely and the bass sounds really good, but it needs something that makes it like feel really memorable. I don't feel that with this guy yet, but really good. I love this one. This is Nick Bailey's Entropy. Fantastic job. One of the better electro submissions I've ever gotten, actually, which is kind of rare because I don't really get a lot of electro submissions. So, not to say that that wasn't good. It was great. But yeah, one of the best I've ever gotten for the genre. All right, next we have Stephen Robertson, 505, and yeah, let's do that. I think that's probably this one. What's the track called? He doesn't have the track name. Guys, Opus. There it is. Cool. Yeah, when you send me tracks, guys, make sure that you put your track name in the file so that your track name and your name, just so I can identify you in the stream. Yeah, guys, that one was really good. Let's see how we're doing on YouTube. My phone is dead, so was dead, so I couldn't check. I usually have my phone up to read the chat as we go. But yeah. Oh, we have a pretty good viewership today, like 30 viewers. All right, this is Eric Prid's Opus Reinterpreted. Interesting. I hope this is good. Should be. That's one of my favorite songs of Eric's. Let's check it out. And guys, if you want to submit for next month, make sure to check out patreon.com/JulianGray. I do these every month on the second Saturday of the month. And yeah, I work on your projects, as you see. If you guys have any questions as we do this, let me know down there as well in the comments. or I guess over there, or there relative to where I am. Now, Steven is a mentor student of mine, and I think he's been working on recreating some of his favorite songs as a practice measure. So I think this is a recreation of Opus by Eric. Let's see if he takes it in a different direction. Great tune. Feel that bass coming in. I would say the bass is a little quiet even at the introduction. Doesn't feel like it's there. Makes me want to remix Opus. I'm just gonna do myself a favor and turn this up a bit. Yeah, like the big hollow cue. I wonder how we approach the Pride snare. The percussion is remarkably close, these hits. I'm gonna skip ahead a bit. Okay, so I think he has all the core elements here. Let's check this one out. This part's remarkably close. We can fix that up. I think the intro has literally no bass at all. If you watched my most recent video that wasn't my Ableton documentary, I explained this concept of low end and your notes relative to their placement on the visible EQ spectrum. And if you actually look on here on the span on the master as we go through this intro part, you can see that if you look at our note right here, our lowest note is F3, and that's 173 hertz. F3 is like really high on a piano. That's like, gotta pull my keyboard out. That is right here. So that is pretty high for a bass sound, I think. If we drop that down an octave, let me see if I can find it, fish it out from under. That's an F1, and this is an F0. That's generally where your bass is sitting, and between the 1 and the 0. If you get really ballsy, -1 for sub. But his lowest bass note in here is like an F3, so that's really high. And it's drifting down as the progression moves. But in that video I just posted the other day, I explained the relationship between what you see here and what notes are played. And if you haven't seen it, I suggest checking it out if you're not familiar with the idea. But essentially, you can visualize what you're missing in your writing just by looking at the spectrum. We're literally missing anything below the 3rd octave, which is really high. So I know this by just years of practice, but by looking at that, you can figure out we're just lacking the low end. So if I just drop this down like 2 octaves, and we go from this, let's see, this is a 2, no, this is a 1, down from 1 to 0, we end up with a F0, which is going to be really low. You guys ever play F0, the Nintendo game? So this is what we needed. Yeah. Maybe on this guy we can remove some of the high end. So now if we play this back in the context of the mix and we look at span, we can see that the bass is like 100% more filled out, probably like 10 times more. Yeah. I'll mute that. Yeah. And that just goes to show, like, I can see that the lowest note is a 3rd octave note. That means I really need something down here at like 1 or 2. And I suggest that if you go on your piano and you just play a little bit every day and you figure out like, oh, this is how a F1 sounds versus an F2, you come to realize where things really sit. Like a bass never lands in like the 3rd octave. It always lands in like 2-ish and below the lowest notes of the 2nd octave. So make sure that you're bearing that in mind. See how much fuller that sounds as soon as we introduce just a little bit of low end. I was thinking to myself, at what point do you get so close to the original song that copyright is triggered? That would be a really fun, experiment to see if you can actually recreate a song to such precision that you trigger YouTube copyright. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this guy. So this one has the 0 octave, but it's also got a lot of the 2nd octave. There's not a lot of 1 happening here. Let me take a look at what's going on in Serum here. Just put these all to 0. And then just turn this up a bit. Remove the resonance so we have like a nice solid low end. When you add resonance, it involuntarily reduces the low end. Because you're boosting one spot, you're essentially just changing the shape of the curve. I don't know if you guys knew this, but if you boost something like this, it's the same as reducing this part and this part. It's just that the curve is now high favoring rather than low favoring. Like when I boost 6 decibels, it's no different than reducing 2, 1, and 4 by 6 decibels. We've just changed the shape. Like +6 here is no different when I do -6 here. Essentially, we have a flat curve, but now these are reduced, if that makes sense. So when you're adding resonance like this, you're inadvertently lowering your low end. You can kind of visually even see that. Like you're applying such a sharp curve here that it's boosting this frequency, but it's actually involuntarily reducing the frequencies below and above. So just flatten this out so we get a nice clean roll off. And then, yeah. it some drive. And let's play that in the mix now. It's definitely like much closer already just because of the bass octave. Kick is way too quiet. I'm gonna turn that up like 10 decibels. Yeah. This really close, I'd have to play the original, but I'm just going off of memory here. I think that sounds a lot more like the low end in the original track. And on this guy, I'm gonna give it a high boost. Hard to do this without the reference because I can't hear what they did, but I think that the bass and the kick relationship is much better now, and adding that bass to the start just really levels up this entire mix. It sounded like this before. Let's put that octave down. It's infinitely better. Also, the snare used in the pre-drop is like an entirely different snare than the other one, so I'm just gonna do this really quick because that is a totally different thing. A Prida snare is like a signature sound. It's really not like a just a regular snare. He does like this thing where he takes a ton of reverb and then like compresses the hell out of it, like something like this. Not that much reverb like that. Snare I don't think is sharp enough though, like it's too like low. Try like OTT or something on it. I don't know. But ideally you'd use a sharper snare. Let me try this. It's like 20%-ish. Give it a high boost. That's closer. It's still not like the Eric Prydz snare. He has like a mastery of those big Prida snares. I mean, he invented them, but that's basically how you do it. It's like distortion, a lot of high boost, reverb, and then compress the reverb like to hell, so you end up with like this. I think in here there's also like a which I don't feel like recreating, but I think that's what's filling out a lot of the mids to this track. So yeah, let's listen through maybe this last few bars into the drop, and then we'll call this one a wrap. I can't really do much else with this until I hear the original again. I'm actually curious how it sounds relative to the original, but I think I got the bass pretty close. Oh, and this needs some reverb like crazy. the snare either. But again, that's that. That's the 505 remix, or I guess remake of Opus by Eric Prydz. I think we made some major improvements to it. It sounds a lot more like the original song now. And that just goes back to that point I was trying to make earlier, where make sure you fill out your octaves. Make sure you have something in all those low bass regions. Otherwise, your song will feel very empty, and it won't feel like it has body to it. All right, guys. Next one. We're getting through these. We're almost done. We got 3 left. We have Alex Barish. Alex is in the chat. He was actually the most recent commenter. Let's go ahead and get to that one. Let's see what his is called. It's called Unicep. Okay. Somebody remade FML and got a copyright strike just a few days ago. See, I wonder if that was actually like Mousetrap or Deadmau5 actually copyright striking it rather than a DCMA like auto scan. Because it's like, to create something so close that it sounds exactly like the original would be almost impossible, I think. But maybe not. I don't know. Here we go. Unicep. Bicep, because it's ripoff of... Oh, got it. I think you're filtering a little bit too much out of that. The bass feels nice. Ooh. The music is sick, man. That main pluck reminds me of Zonderling, the artist. The same the rest of the track. Yeah, so there's a few things that really stood out to me as this kicks in right here. The kick feels like it's in like the wrong place. Actually, it lined up fine that time. Okay, cool. So, I don't know what it was the first time. It didn't play, it like didn't line up right. I like your bass. I like your pad. What I think would be nice is like a nice mid tone, which you don't have. I'm just gonna duplicate your sub really quick and take it up an octave. For sake of time, I'll do it here, but I would suggest doing this in your MIDI because it's easier. Oh, you had it down 1. Okay, perfect. So we are actually at neutral here. So this is 0 octave, then MIDI note is playing a 1, should be, or maybe 2. And we'll just add like a ton of voices to this and make the detune like crazy. And this is gonna create a respace, which is like integral to that like breakbeat sound you're going for. Okay, yeah, it's up an octave. I'm just gonna do this. Duplicate it a bunch. Ew, ew, ew. I should get like a soundboard with like where'd you find this? And like the other one, the air horn. That'd be so tight. Then every time I get a good track, I could be like ew, 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 ew. Just a little bit of motion on this could be nice too, like a sweep over like a 3-4 bar, like. Let's lose the mono thing, so then we get that nice like stereo reese like this. Yeah, that's clean. All right. Reese. See, I don't know if it's a S. I guess it's an S. I always put a C because like Reese's. Or is that an S? Or maybe I put an S because of Reese's. I don't know. So usually with a respace, because of how they used to resample sounds, some of the unison would be like more or less detuned, and you can kind of emulate that if you use like the note parameter here and you apply it to the detune, so you end up with like every different note creates a different like slightly wavering sound. Let's put that with like our wub thing. Maybe a little too much detune. Yeah. Come on now. All right, let's put the drums back in. You're missing like a strong kick, which is like what's really holding this back. Because I think resampled drums like this, like a amen break, are super like relevant to the genre. You're just missing that like strong 808. So for this kick, which is terrible, I'm going to add in a drum rack. You can just probably grab a stock 808. It'll be better than that. Stick it here. YouTube compression doesn't affect audio terribly. I mean, it's like 192 kilohertz MP3. Like, that's immediately better than what you had, and it's like stock Ableton. Let's try a 909, actually. That could be tight. 909 has some bite. Yeah. I love breakbeat, man. So what you could try also, which is like integral to the genre as well, if you grab like little clips of these and duplicate them and then reverse them, maybe like stretch them out, like like reverse stretched like breaks are like the key to the genre, because back in the day with old drum machines, they would get really artifacted, and stretching that kind of emulates that sound, so you get like yeah, maybe like, or like little micro loops too, like grabbing like little that's like the key to breaks. All right, check this out. And also, I think what's happening is with like that delay thing I was talking about, with like the wub, I think I'm triggering on the wrong beat. So that's what's creating that weird thing. So I gotta start it here, I think. Maybe like this would be cool. It still needs like stronger percussion. Like the kick is fine now, but it doesn't have like a really strong like groove. It kind of just feels all over the place. So you're like maybe like a maybe like a psst, psst. Right there, maybe. It's tricky because it's kind of based around that loop, but I don't know. I don't want to screw up the loop. Definitely need that. I'm gonna go ahead and split the kick off into its own channel, though. I don't want to group them together. Do this. Oops. Like that. And then that weird trigger problem. I kind of like the artifacts, actually. I just need more reverb on it, like. And then let's go ahead and sidechain the bass like really heavy, because that's also what's missing, because the kick's not punching, because it doesn't have that side chain trigger. So let's get this. Grab what was it called again? 6909. Yeah. And let's listen for only the click of the kick, immediately trigger, and then cut like a crazy amount. So we get like this crazy cool, old school, like heavy side chain. And put that on the Reese too. So we get this like. Yeah, this groove has to be worked on. Like, you're gonna have to go in here and kind of come up with something more interesting. I think that's what he was actually going for, because the track's called UNICEF. I think it's a parody of that song, or like a homage to it. I'm gonna toss some reverb on the snare too, the clap, I guess. Some more headroom on the Reese to give it that high end. I don't think that's adding much either. Sidechain it. Yeah, the kick is still not smacking, but it's better than it was. And the 909 is like the standard for this old school breakbeat stuff. It really needs like maybe some OTT or something on the main drums. It just doesn't have like what I need out of it, like something like this. That kick definitely needs some like high end too, but I'm not gonna go sample diving. Play it from here. See how it sounds. Julian Gray, Glasses Edition. Yeah, there's like a lot of potential here. It just needs a lot of accessory stuff. Like, you got to work on the percussion a bit more. The breaks have to be really fine-tuned. I added a few like cool little runs and stuff, but that's like the name of the genre in the breaks genre. Just really cool like fills and stuff out of what you have already, and stretches and that sort of thing. Artifacts are actually pretty cool for breaks. It's part of the genre. It's very obvious sampling. I don't love the kick pattern. I think it's way too busy, but just maybe like a I guess you have to match the sample though. Yeah, the glasses are blue light filtering, so I don't get eye strain after being on the screen for 10 hours a day. All right, so this is Unicep. I think we added enough to this one. The big thing was the Reese. I think with that, Reese really filled it out. Without it, it felt so empty. And then fixing up that kick is really important too. Okay, Unicep is done. Putting that in the finished folder. And then we're going to move on to the last two here. Let's see what we got. We have guard data. So I don't have access to this one. You have to submit it next time. Essity. This is called unparalleled attire. Where was that? There it is. Unparalleled attire. Dude, I have unparalleled attire too. Just saying. My glasses are unparalleled. All right, here we go. Let's open this guy. I love breakbeat, guys. Send me a billion breakbeat songs in the future. Okay, so this is an 11 track. Okay, then we'll try the other one first. If this is 11.2, then we'll open 11 up. Otherwise, I'm going to do this one in 10 first, and then we'll switch to 11 because it's a pain in the ass. My cat's asleep finally, so he won't be joining us for feedback. Is it just me, or is the screen turned black? No, it's not. It's not me. Hi. I'm gonna open the blinds a little, let some light in. It's a very nice day outside. It's just really bright. There. Michael, thank you so much for joining today. I do these every month on the second Saturday of the month. And if you want to submit tracks next time to be worked on stream, just go over to patreon.com/JulianGray and you can find details there. All right, guys. Next up, let's try out this one. It's called 22021, and okay, so this one was also in Live 11. Wow, that is amazing that we made it to the very end, and the last two were the ones from Live 11. All right, Live 11 it is. Let's get this thing open. Okay, let's close this. I have too many windows open. Way too many. Way too many. And that, and this, and that, and this, and this. There we go. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're new to the channel, I appreciate it. And anyone who's watching, I hope you enjoyed my Ableton documentary. I'm sure all of you have seen it if you're on this stream, whether it be like an old subscriber or a new one. Statistically, you've probably seen it. Okay, let me make sure the sound is good, because I don't think it is. Yeah. Live 11. I love that new logo. It's so strong. All right, let's check this out. This is Unparalleled Attire by, I forget who submitted this. I wish I didn't close that window now. But anyway, let's check it out. Intro, yay or nay? Let's see. So far, so good. If this is your track, let us know in the chat, because I said it a few minutes ago and now I can't remember who it was. Thanks for all the kind words about the doc. SD. Nice. Nice melody. clapping sound. Yeah. It's a little quiet. I'm just gonna put a limiter on this really quick just to boost the volume. You don't have to keep this one, but I just like Newfangled Audio's Elevate. I'm just gonna go to limiter, turn adaptive gain off, and just that's even quiet here. I'm gonna do that. Bass sounds great on this one. You've taken to heart like what I was saying on the last project. Another mouse kick. A lot. The kick's a little interesting. We'll dive into that in a minute. So, what we're facing here is like a problem I see in a lot of newer musicians. There's a lot of stuff going on right here, but there's not a lot of things to catch your ear. Like my ear is drawn to 4 different elements at the same time here. It's always better to try to make the listener focus on one key element than it is to like listen to 3 at the same time. So I would suggest bringing one of these forward a lot more and making it like a core element, and the rest of them either removing them or pulling them back, because there's a lot going on here that we probably don't need. We'll clean it up in a second. I like it so far. Ooh, that's a weird breakbeat. The siren is not part of the song, it's outside. Oh, that's even weird for breaks. It's cool though. Ooh. That bass is kicking. It's very like Stephen Bodson. Essity, what are you monitoring on? Like, what are you mixing on? Because this mix feels kind of weird. Like, not wrong, but like some of the choices are interesting. And it might be your listening environment. This is another electro one. It's awesome. that's what I meant, like what you're listening on. Interesting. So Rocket 5s and some Audio Technica. Because what I gather from this is that you're mixing your low end really loud. It might be to compensate for your small monitors, and your high end is really like dull. So you might have a really sharp, response on your high end. If you have the money, I would suggest looking into SonarWorks. It's a calibration program for your monitors. It will help with that. Okay, I think I get the gist of this guy. I love that little supporting melody bit. It's got Julian Gray written all over it. Alright, so let's start working on this mix. I think mixing's your main issue here. The melodic stuff is nice. Some places have a little bit too much music going on, but we can address that with mixing. So first thing I noticed is this crazy EQ on your kick. I don't know what the reasoning behind this was, but I'm gonna kind of reduce the amount of adjustments you're doing to your kick. So let's first disable yours. Okay, and then I want to just maybe dial out a little bit of the mids, but I want that click in there because that's where you get all the punch of your kick. So compare that to this. Say you lose a lot of punch when you remove the top end. We can pull out that mid, which is that boxy tone I think you're trying to get rid of here. But the top end is really important to getting a crunchy kick that punches. This feels very dull. So make sure to keep some of this high end in there. Maybe we can do a little boost here at 150. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, kick EQ is pretty gnarly, I will say. The snare is super sharp. I love that. Got that dead mouse snare on lock. I will say we can probably trim some low end out of it though. There's unnecessary low end in here. Just trying to go for that upper mid. Get that snap. Same for this guy. A little bit of low cut. Boost on the high. Get a sharp little snare, and then we can probably boost these guys a bit more. Alright, and then let's check out the off knock and the hi-hats. Okay, make sure those are kind of subtle. Hi-hats feel nice. Make sure these are nice and bright, and let's cut some low end. That's really subtle. Just a little bit of high boost on that guy too. Couldn't hurt. Alright, so drums sound alright to me now. Now the kick's punching a little better. Let's listen to the bass thing. Don't be bassist. So this is getting dangerously close to the principle I was talking about in my most recent video. It's called Don't Use EQ Like This. And essentially, if you have a note that's playing here, which you do, don't high pass it. It's better to just remove the note or shift it up an octave, because when you high pass it, you're removing the fundamental, but you're leaving all the harmonics. So make sure that you always have your fundamental, otherwise you end up with a sound that feels like it's lost its foundation, how I like to say it, or you could just say it's lost its fundamental, and then you end up with a sound that's just harmonics of a fundamental that doesn't exist anymore, and you end up with this really interesting sounding congested sound. So I want to make sure that our fundamental is coming through here. I'm not opposed to the idea of high passing here, but it's effectively doing nothing. if your first note in your harmonic series is here. Okay, that's sounding better. You had it like here. See how like constrained that sounds, and as soon as we reveal the fundamental, it feels like it fills out. And then we're gonna put our sidechain after everything too, just as a good measure. Make this faster, so immediately triggers as it hears the kick, and then I'm gonna make it listen for only the click of the kick. Maybe a little bit more release time. I'm actually gonna remove this one, and then we'll just move this to the group. It's easier. And for this one, we can do the same thing. So pull that out and then just move it to the group. So that's like a sub. So what frequency are we at in that sub? So this is down here at like 0 octave. Let's check this one. This is at 1. So that's good. These are sounding really nice together and full because it's filling out both of those octaves down there. All right. That sounds awesome too. So on this sub, what are you doing with that? Okay, so it's just a sine wave. Let's try like adding like a saw in there with like a filter. So we end up with a little bit of harmonics at the bottom, but we aren't, polluting the top end. Let's see if we can hear this. And what that allows us to do is add a little bit more interest to our bass rather than just have like, one frequency, which you can see on here. A sine wave is only one note, but if we add a saw wave, it adds harmonics, which adds interest to the sound. Yeah, nice. And notice we aren't going to have any issues with our other bass because the fundamental's way down here at octave 0, whereas these are at octave 1. So the overlap isn't of worry. Just make sure that you aren't cutting off your fundamental in your upper note if you do that. Okay, so if we play these together now, we have this really nice filled out bass because the saw adds so many harmonics to that sub. Yeah. Sidechain's a little weird, but if we have the kick in there, it doesn't hurt. Maybe like a little bit less on the high end. That sounds awesome. Let's put the lead back in and see if we can prioritize it. What's going on here is that you have a really distracting delay taking away from the principal voice of that sound. So you have like, imagine this, like you're in a room, right? And you have 5 people talking to you at once from a foot away. If they're all talking to you at the same frequency and the same like distance, it's going to be really distracting because all their words are kind of gelling together. But if you push someone back like 20 feet, you end up with this natural roll off. So like they're getting low passed by nature, so you're effectively doing this, right? Like I'm sure you've experienced this where if you walk 20 feet away, the vocal is less clear. It's more low sounding. You can't hear all the high frequency like presence. So what you're doing by adding like this really high delay is just creating a ton of voices up in the high end. And what you really want is you want one principal voice that's kind of talking to you from a foot away and everyone else to be pushed back a little bit. So if you use a delay like this, don't use high delay because then it becomes really distracting. Try to take this down and cut some of the high end off. And then you end up with, those voices, but they're in the background. It's like you're at a party and you're talking to your friend, but there's other conversations going on around the room. So you end up with this. Maybe some ping pong on there too. switch the EQ to. I think this is too much. Like a little low cut. And we're running into the same issue here. So the high end is where that clarity and presence is, and you're never letting it through. This is what it would sound like if we had a filter open. See, it sounds like a voice talking to you from like a foot away versus like 20 feet away, like where it was. So what I suggest is just, you know, make sure you're opening this enough. Just kind of give a hint of that high end so you end up with a little bit more clarity. I'm going to reduce the distortion too a little bit. It's a little distracting. And you see how now that lead feels like it's a principal voice that's like capturing your ear, and that's all you want to hear? That's what I'm going for. Okay, so let's listen to this mix now with those adjustments we have made and see how it sounds. I think our pad might need some help too. I think we're in too low of an octave for this one. Yeah, so these are way down at octave 1. I would say shift these notes up so that they're, you know, within a reasonable octave, because right now it feels really low. It seems like you are dropping it here. Yeah. So I'm going to remove the sub, and then we'll just keep this where it is. I think that sounds fine. So now this is at 1, and these are at 2, I believe. Yeah, 2, 1. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just drag these up to 3 and 2 and 3. Yeah. Turn it up a little bit, like that. Let some of that 2 and 3 out. Yeah. And then when you mix that with the bass, it's going to sound nice and full, because now we're filling out the high end, and the bass is filling out our low octave. Might be 1 octave too high. Let's try this down where it was. Where is it? 2. Yeah. Let's try like a saw wave or something instead of like an acid. Some pad in there too to fill out your mids. You don't really have much here. There it is. Yeah, it's punching much more now. I think there's a lot of more stuff we can do with this one, but I think we're gonna call it a wrap on that one right here. Sounds really good, man. Unparalleled Attire by Essity in the chat. Everyone in the chat, give him a nice little emoji of sorts. You pick which your favorite emoji is. All right, and coming up into hour 3 of the stream, and we're checking out the last one of the day, which is called 2/20/21, because they didn't send me their name. I don't know whose this is, but we'll see. How are you guys liking Ableton 11 so far, those of you who bought it? Crystal Ball, nice choice. All right, this is 02/20/21. And if this is you in the chat, oh, there he is, Brian Orozco. Ooh, that's a nice hat. Ah, nice pluck too. Jeez. Woo. Yeah, this is good. Anakim would really like this. I think this is his vibe. Good friend of mine. It's got major like Stephen Bodson, Ninja Tune kind of sound, and Junadine. Really good. tom motion down there in the bottom is so nice. If you're familiar with this artist called Frost, kind of reminds me of his stuff. So in general, this is sounding really good. I think I get the gist. Yeah. In general, this is sounding really good. I think one of my few notes is that the high-end stuff doesn't have a lot of sidechain. It feels kind of disconnected from the low end. So like here in the drop, for example, that dun 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 feels a little bit out of context with the bass. I would address that with maybe a little bit more sidechain on it. Let me see what you got here. You are sidechaining it. I'd say just give it a little bit more. I don't have your elements there, but I'll just go ahead and grab like a compressor and do it manually here. In general, this is sounding really solid. I don't have any like major issues with it. These are more nitpicky stuff, and you said you're looking for final touches. So let me just try a little bit of sidechain here. It seems like you have like a click track. That's easy. Yeah, so just a little bit more motion on that sidechain I think could make this fit so much better. Reverb on this guy too, like time. You had this really cool like slap back effect, which I think works for some things, but for this particular element, I think a little bit more of a spatial reverb would be nice here, like, you know, second and a half. This also feels incredibly like wide for some reason. I wonder what it looks like on like a stereo. It's a little bit wide. So I'm thinking if we just went into what is it called, an isotope? I don't know if you use it, but just dial in the stereo width a little bit. Imager, that's what it's called. I'm just gonna assume you have 9 if you do have it. So yeah, you have a little bit of width here that I think is unnecessary. So I'm just gonna use one band and dial it in. You could probably do this with the utility on Ableton, but I just, you know, this is probably higher fidelity, so I go with it. Gives me the other idea of, we can try the other way too, make this super stereo. I wonder if that's what you're doing here, actually, like monoizing, and this is just redundant. Like if we disable mono, this is stereo. That's a different effect entirely, this super stereo. I was thinking mono, like more mono would be fitting here, but the stereo is actually nice. I don't know, know. It's up for you to decide. I wonder if you have ozone. If not, you can always use like the Ableton utility probably and get, you know, negligibly similar results. I like that a lot. The oh yeah is a little too loud. A little too present, I think. Try it down a little bit. Ah, so you're using the new split feature. That might actually be why it sounds so strange in stereo. Like, I wonder what would happen if I just collapse these down. And then lose the... That might be what's throwing me off about this, because one of the elements feels like it's slightly left and slightly right. I don't know if that's necessary, because they both feel like layers of the same sound. Could just be me, but I think that them together sounds better, like directly in the center. And maybe applying a little bit of widening to like the whole sound. The other way is like, again, you could make it less wide and really stick it to the center. Flatten that to 0.2 on the width. One thing I will say about these vocals, they feel incredibly dry. I don't know if you have like a reverb on here or if you're sending it, but I could use a little bit of verb, I think. You're doing a send for it, but I'm going to try a little bit of insert reverb, like a room, just to kind of blend it into the atmosphere a bit, because it feels a little bit forward. I'll put it in the vocal channel. Yeah, let's just put like, 25, 30%, and then maybe like leave it at 2 seconds. Give it some high end. Let's A-B. Yeah, that feels very like this is a sample. This feels like an atmosphere. So let's try that in the mix. And like I was saying earlier in the stream, let's try compressing the reverb to try to get a little bit more or a little bit less dynamics out of it. Oh, the new compressor is very different. I haven't used it yet. Oh, this is not the channel. It's this one. So I'm trying to absorb some of those small nuances of the reverb tail and just bring them up to volume. Yeah, it sounds awesome. Cool. And then maybe we'll try a little bit of this on some of the other stuff too. So like a little bit more reverb, maybe a little bit of post-reverb compression to bring up some of the tails. Very 80s sound. It's kind of stylistically one of my favorite things to do, but I don't know if that's your taste or not. So wherever you have that ding, 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 I'm gonna, the bass one, I'm gonna take that and add a little bit of this too. That's not really a bass, it's more like a mid pluck. I'm just going to apply a little bit of verb. I think in general the high end just feels a little bit abrupt and strong. If we kind of soften it up with a little bit of accent reverb like this, it can really glue the whole thing together. Try that, and then maybe a little bit of compression post reverb. This might be a little bit controversial, but maybe a tad of delay, but do it like a 2 beat and then like way down here at the bottom to add like a secondary voice, but not so present. Actually, one. Sorry. Yeah, very like bouncy. Could be kind of cool. I don't know if that's something you're interested in, but let's check it in the mix now. You can also automate that, so it's like as you get into the drop, you dry it. Yeah, that could be really cool. I feel like you might need that here, just if you do something like that, because it's implying that it's coming back. But something like this could be really nice, like towards that break. As for the name conundrum, I have no idea what to call this. Enable that with freeze on, but yeah. Yeah, I would keep this going through something like this. Could probably come up like 1 or 2 decibels, and I think this is wrapped, man. This sounds amazing. Let's try like, you know, 1.5 decibels, 2 decibels, something like that. Let me check where your bass note is hitting, because I think 120 hertz mono might be a little bit too high. Yeah, because I think your main bass is like up here. So let's reduce this to like 80 hertz or something, 75 hertz. So your uppers are more stereo. I don't know how to use Diva. I don't know where like your unison would be on here, because I don't use Diva. I don't even know if it has unison. I think it might be a single voice per oscillator. But basically, the upper bass could be a little bit more stereo. You could also do it with like a, again, the stereo tool in Isotope. You could probably grab like 100, maybe like 60 hertz or something, or 160 and maybe around that region hertz, and widen it a bit. Could be nice. So I'm just gonna do this, grab like, I don't know, 100 to 300 ish, maybe 500 or 600, and just give it a little bit of width. A, B. Yeah. All right, hear that in the mix now. Yeah, and then play with the automation on that delay for the second half too. All right, guys, that is a really, really good tune. It doesn't have a name yet. If you guys have ideas for titles, put it in the chat. Actually, some pretty good titles over there. I don't know what to call it. I have no idea. It sounds really good. You need something really sophisticated that matches your brand. That's the only thing I could say. Awesome, guys. This has been one of the longest ones we've done in a long time. This is, I think, almost 3 hours of streaming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys want to submit for next month's stream, I take submissions over on Patreon. They are first come, first serve. I try to get to the first like 6-ish. I basically go for 2.5 hours. I do these on the second Saturday of every month at patreon.com/Julian Gray. You can go and check that out. I'll go here. Oops. I'll go here. Yes. Second Saturday of every month. If you want to submit for next month's stream, you can click on the link in the description of this video. Also, patrons that submitted your projects this week, make sure to download these project files. I'm going to put them up on Google Drive within the next hour or so. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Any questions for the chat before we wrap this up? Please, where are the glasses from? Sorry, missed it before. I just picked them up off Amazon. There's a lot of places that sell them. Just look for blue light filter glasses. Essentially blocks all blue light. So like you can see you can see it's literally reflecting all the blue light out. And basically, if you wear these while you work, it really makes a difference while you look at a screen. Did you record the video? Yeah, they are recorded and uploaded instantaneously. So as I finish this stream, it'll be up on my YouTube channel. It should be if it doesn't take time to process or whatever. So you can check that out. Everyone's tracks were great. Thank you, Julian, for all the tips. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, guys, you guys nailed it this time. These are some of the best tracks I've heard from these streams in a long time. One of my favorite Fix Your Project streams, probably. We had so many good tracks this week, or this month, I guess. And I'm looking forward to seeing all you next month for the next Fix Your Project stream. So let me get up my page here. Any final questions, guys? I'll answer for the next minute or so. And by minute or so, I mean like 3 minutes, because by the time I see your question, it's going to be like a minute later. You got 1 minute to send a question. Juno, do you want to say goodbye to everyone? I don't think he wants to say goodbye to everyone, but you can't even see him. There he is. His little tree. Hi, buddy. All right, guys. I think that's it for this stream. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next stream next month. In between that, there's going to be some awesome videos. Desk mic is the AT2020 by Audio-Technica. I use a Slate M1 for my vocal tracking, but this is for my studio stuff. His favorite key to write in is A minor because it's easy to play on piano. All right, that's it, guys. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.